Hey everybody, how's it going? Mike and Anand here from the Focus Garage, and today we are at Dyno Day. We're at Fornarelli Motorsports here in Elgin, Illinois, and they do have a DynoJet dyno, so we're going to be testing to kind of see what the three bikes make. We've got the R1, the MT-10, and the FZ1 here. We're going to line them all up, put them on the dyno, and see what they're making.
These guys only don't do dynos, they do anything and everything about bikes. They work on bunch of different models and
sport bikes, Harleys. They do dyno tuning, motor builds, right down to tires. So if you are local to the Chicagoland area near this shop, we strongly recommend you go ahead and check them out. We'll have their info linked down below. But I've used them before a couple times for tires. They're always real accommodating. You know, drop it off. You could bring the wheels themselves, bring the bike, however you want to do it. They're here to help you out.
Yeah, so we're gonna take the R1 first, and then FZ1 goes second, and then the MT-10 goes third, and we're gonna see the delta between these horsepower to compare what's going on the street versus how much horsepower these engines are making, and to show you guys, you know, tune all these. MT-10 is tuned, FZ1 is tuned, FZ1 is full bolt-on tune, MT-10 is exhaust, no catalytic converter tune. So, and then R1 is base, no tune at all. So
the biggest thing we're seeing here, it's not even really for, you know, peak numbers and what we're going. We're really curious to see, just in the playing around that we've done of what bike pulls on what, to see the difference, like Anders said, the delta between the different bikes of who's making what power and how much the difference is between the few bikes here.
And these bikes are going to get dynoed within an hour of each other, so we're going to see
consistent temps,
consistency there. So we're not going to, you know, wait to dyno any of these. So
yeah, we'll check it all out. I'll show you guys the bikes real quick here, and then we'll roll the footage. And as you can see, they've got all of the bikes here, everything, you know, like I said, from full baggers to more sporty bikes to retro bikes to,
and then CB11, that's our favorite bike right there.
Some really neat older super sports here. There was a crazy Hayabusa in the showroom inside. We got choppers over here. I mean, it's a really cool place. Definitely recommend you guys check them out if you are local to them. With the R1 being the first bike to go and set the pace, it was pretty impressive to see. As you can see on this dyno chart here, all three runs produced almost the exact same 147 wheel horsepower and a very, very steady air-fuel ratio as shown in the graph below. Now this is right where we expected it to be, as everywhere online says these bikes dyno between 145 and 155 wheel horsepower. This came as a surprise to us because the owner of Fornarelli Motorsports told us that their DynoJet reads traditionally low compared to other dynos. They said with bikes of these power levels, you could expect to see about 10 to 15 more wheel horsepower on inflated dynos compared to what a lot of other places have. So this is where the R1's at, 147 wheel. Let's go ahead and check out the FZ1. have it. The old FZ1 put down a very solid 137 wheel horsepower, and it is the only non-cross-plane crank bike here. As you can see on the lower section of the graph, it made an even more impressive, very, very steady air-fuel ratio. So this made about 10 wheel less than Anders R1. There we go. The MT-10 split the difference between the FZ1 and the R1, coming right in the middle at 144 wheel horsepower. As you can see by the graph, the bike actually made more power with each progressing run, starting at around 141 wheel horsepower and ending right around 144 wheel horsepower. Very impressive by the MT-10. Now that we've seen the footage and got to check out what these bikes look like on the dyno, I want to see what you guys think in the comments down below. Is that what you were expecting? This is pretty much exactly what the three of us expected with these bikes. Going into this, we expected the R1 to make the most horsepower, the FZ1 to make the least horsepower, and the MT-10 to slot somewhere kind of in the middle there to split the difference. And the funniest thing about this is that it is exactly how it turned out. It was very, very impressive to see these bikes make the power that they were able to put down. Keep in mind that, like we said in the beginning of the video, that the owner said that they had no way to manipulate these numbers. So what you're seeing is exactly the way the data is coming and being received from DynoJet. They said the way their software works is that it's wirelessly tied to DynoJet's database, and it updates on a monthly or a weekly basis there based on the load and the weight and of the motorcycles on the dyno there. So this is as realistic as it's going to get, as controlled as it's going to get. These bikes were all obviously dynoed right after each other, one after another, back to back on the same day with the same weather conditions. The only variable I would say would possibly be the type of fuel that was in these motorcycles. But even so, it really wouldn't have accounted for that huge of a difference unless somebody was running different octane than one another. And as far as I'm aware, all three of us always run 93 octane in these bikes. What I thought was really, really cool was the amount of power the FZ1 was making, even though that bike is a 2009. We're in the year 2020 now. The bike's pretty old, and it was putting out some pretty respectable power, and it is an absolute joy to ride. That one is obviously my personal motorcycle, so I am slightly biased with that. It was pretty cool, though, to see that these bikes made all within 10 wheel horsepower of each other, but that doesn't tell the whole story on the street. Anders R1 absolutely decimates in any kind of roll racing in Mexico or on the track there at higher speeds. At lower speeds and lower RPMs, the MT-10 and the FZ1 kind of have the torque to pull away in the beginning, but as soon as you get up to those higher speeds there, the aerodynamics and the gearing and the power band make all of the difference there on the R1. The R1 revs higher than these other two motorcycles, the R1 is more aerodynamic than these other two motorcycles, and the R1 stays in that meaty power band up at those upper RPMs for longer than the other two motorcycles there. So it is no surprise, but the distance that motorcycle beats these two by on the street, you would think it's more than 10 wheel horsepower. But it's not, as you can see in the video here. That's going to pretty much wrap it up for this one. We did this dyno day here because we thought it would be fun. We thought it would be interesting for you guys to check out and kind of share your thoughts. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and tap that bell for notifications. And let us know if you have any questions or anything else you'd like to see with these bikes in the comments down below. This is Mike from the Focus Garage, and I will catch you guys in the next video.